310864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
He's back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion. And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you. It is game day for Oregon men's basketball. The Ducks against Colorado. The third time's a charm here tonight, with Oregon facing off against the Buffs for the first time this season after originally supposed to play the end of December, then going to play a few weeks later, now going to play at Matthew Knight Arena tonight. It'll be a 6:30 pregame show here on the Oregon Sports Network with a 7 o'clock tip-off at Matthew Knight Arena. Tickets are available. Come out, support this team that is now up to number 52 in the latest net rankings. Remember, the Ducks debuted in December at number 153 in their initial net rankings. They have jumped up over 100 spots, and they are right now inside that NCAA tournament bubble if you look at all the bracketology. But in order to stay there, got to keep winning against a pretty good Colorado team. Talked with Coach Altman for the Toyota Coaches Corner this morning, and let's just say that he knows they're going to have to rebound well and maybe force a few turnovers against a team in Colorado that turns it over at one of the highest clips in the conference. They are the second worst in the conference in terms of turnovers per game. So if the Ducks keep up that defensive energy, I think I like Oregon's chances tonight. Oregon, by the way, it's the first time since the 1911-12 season when the Ducks were not even part of the Pac-12. Not even part of the Pac-10 nor the Pac-8. They were part of the NWC, I believe the Northwest Conference. Oregon started conference play that year 0-2, but ended up going 5-2 through 7 conference games. They actually ended up finishing that season 8-2 in conference play. So just put in perspective, you start out 0-2 in conference, now the Ducks are 5-2. That turnaround, it's been over 100 years since Oregon's had a turnaround like that in a conference season. They're the first Pac-12 team to start play 0-2 and end up at 5-2 since UCLA did it in 1986-87. UCLA eventually went on to go to 6-2. The Ducks could match that here tonight, and then I'm going to have to continue to go back through the record books to see the last time a team went from 0-2 to 7-2 in conference. Let's hope the Ducks can keep doing that at home this week. Meanwhile, Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl is here with us. We're going to talk about all the basketball. We're going to talk about baseball. We're going to talk about football. And then also coming up on today's show, previewing Oregon baseball season with head coach Mark Wasikowski. Some updates on the PK Park upgrades and renovations we'll tell you about. And Melyssa Lombardi will begin our regular chat with the Oregon softball head coach with spring sports closing in. Did I miss anything there? How you doing, Eric?
That was a lot, Joey. Nice job.
Thanks. You know, I'd love to say that all of that was in my head, but like 10% of that was written down. The numbers and notes, I mean, Northwest Conference, you don't hear about that conference very often anymore.
No, but I think 0-2 is all part of the plan.
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
go.
That's right. I mean, we joke about how Coach Altman always lines up Rubik's Cubes, and after Valentine's Day, the Ducks have the best record in the Pac-12 in the last decade, and that's because Coach Altman finds a way to get guys playing. I mean, from your chair, Eric, you've watched a lot of basketball. You've seen what Coach Altman does. What continues to impress you about the way that he coaches his teams up?
Well, I think it just comes back to, the culture of the program, and there's always a fight there within that team, and they struggled mightily, obviously, through the month of November. And, it's a new group of guys, and they're still figuring each other out, figuring out the system with the coaches, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done in a short period of time. Some of the guys were a little banged up, in the preseason, so I think all that coming together as it has in some of the previous years, it's great to see. I mean, they're playing really well. I'm not a basketball expert by any means, but I think, it's clear for all of us as we watch, the way they're playing together and for each other. fighting hard on the defensive end. We've started to make a lot more shots on the offensive end, and
Sure.
that usually tends to feed into stronger defensive effort as well.
Yeah, the Ducks are shooting 42% from three in their last 5. You're going to win a lot of games when you do that, as that average continues to tick up. And Will Richardson, as a sophomore, he led the league in three-point shooting percentage, though he didn't attempt as many as maybe the Ducks would like him to. Talked with Coach Altman about that a few weeks ago. He said, I think that Will could take a few more. Well, he's been taking a few more, and now he's actually leading the conference in three-point field goal shooting percentage heading into the game tonight. So, and stuff like that, Eric, I get a kick out of the numbers, and the numbers always seem to back up what we're talking about. And you said that you're not a basketball expert. I disagree. I know that you're looking at the net rankings just as much as I am.
Yeah, no, the jump in the net has been awesome, and it was really interesting how we jumped 13 spots the other day with the win. But that's just all part of, playing games and going out and competing. And as Coach said, tonight will be a great challenge for them, and hopefully we can find a way to get another W and continue to build that resume.
Seeing Coach Altman pick up win number 700, what was that like for you? What does that mean in the coaching landscape, being only the 24th guy to ever do that?
Well, yeah, when you think about the history of college basketball and you think of the number 700, you're playing 30, 31 games plus some postseason if you're fortunate, which Coach Altman's played a lot of postseason games. But, it's an incredible achievement across, several stops throughout his career. Just a testament to the competitor that he is and the way he's able to develop young men. And, no matter where he's been or what the makeup of his team has been, he's just been really successful, and we're lucky to have him.
Well, and I got to tell you, I love the fact that we're on the road, right, at UCLA. It's a historic win. It's a big resume win, and Coach Altman was excited about it. And I got to tell you, one of the coaches actually came out of the locker room before Coach came in and was checking with me and some others, like, that was 700, right? Like they wanted to make sure to get it right. Well, Coach actually got a bath, as you can imagine, on the way into the locker room, but he kind of knew it was coming, so he almost dodged him. But the guys did it right. And they celebrated a guy who deserves it. And, Eric, I've said this a lot, and I'm curious your perspective. Like, how is that guy not already in the Hall of Fame? How is Coach Altman not already in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, that day should be coming soon, right, given everything that he's done. And he's the last one to want to talk about himself or pat himself on the back. But to get number 700 in that setting, at UCLA against a top 5 team, how cool was that?
Yeah, again, only 23 coaches have ever done it. I might have said 24.
And it doesn't surprise me that he tried to duck the bath.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. But don't worry, they got him though. Don't worry, he came out and he sat down for the post-game interview, and he was still kind of drying off, and I thought, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. He deserves it because he's the first to deflect, right? You can imagine post-game conversations that I have with him, and it's, oh no, we don't need to talk about that. We're going to talk about, but he deserves it, doesn't he?
Absolutely. And like I said, Oregon, we're lucky to have him, and the run of success that we've had now over what I think it's 12 years.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll keep that going and keep building it this year.
Yeah, tonight is actually the matchup of the 2 longest tenured coaches in the Pac-12. Tad Boyle and Dane Altman started the same year, both in their 12th seasons, and then behind them, believe it or not, it's Andy Enfield from USC, who's in his 9th year. It's amazing when you get guys that have been here for a decade and they're the longest tenured coaches. That kind of speaks to the way that college basketball turns over these days.
Yeah, it's a sign of the times, and I think you're finding that with a lot of leadership positions throughout higher education, really, but certainly in college athletics and coaching.
Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl joining us. Rescheduling games, Eric. We often talk about how the biggest news that you and I could talk about that fans want to know is which game are we going to play on the football schedule 10 years from now. That's one of many things that Eric handles. But now we're talking about which game are we going to play here in the next few weeks. How challenging has it been to reschedule games on the basketball schedule and for other sports as well?
Well, we're used to it, for one, so it's not new. Last year we did a whole lot of this shuffling with COVID outbreaks and protocols and things like that. So the Pac-12 has done a phenomenal job. Jamie Zaninovich, Drew Seidenberger, Dustin Roque, the team there, and working with our television partners and then with the schools to try to find the right windows to get these games in. So far, we've missed some games, but we've been able to get them rescheduled, and At this point, once we get Colorado played, we're only down the one game with Washington State. We're working on that one right now. And again, the conference has a bigger picture that they have to look at, but they consult with the schools, and we work together to find the right window, ultimately to make sure that it's placed in a way that is equitable to both of the schools.
Yeah, there's so many things that factor into it. Coach Altman was talking about it from just the sense of, he was asked, how does it affect you from preparation? Because it is a quick turnaround now to play on a Tuesday, but he said, you get worried about it at the end of the year when you maybe don't want to deal with injuries, but also you want to get the games in, right? Like, got to find a way to play as many as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember last year, we were trying to figure out how to get some key games in down the stretch. I think UCLA and USC were a couple games that we had to find a way to play, and we ended up beating UCLA at home, and that was an incredible UCLA team and a great win. But I don't think any coach would say, sign me up for 3 tough games in 6 days. But unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes, and we've all got to roll with that.
Going to talk a little more basketball coming up. I want to get a quick timeout when we return. Some updates on the PK Park renovations, because opening day is about a month away, if you can believe it, for Oregon baseball, with first official practice coming up on Friday, which is awesome to see. I'm planning on going out there, seeing a little bit of baseball, and I'm looking forward to it. PK Park upgrade check-in, a lot more to come. Stick with us. Eric Roedl going to join us for one more segment here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, I'm Joey Mack. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Eric Roedl, Deputy Athletic Director, joining us. Been talking a little bit of basketball. We're going to talk about baseball. Oregon baseball head coach Mark Wasikowski met with the media today for kind of the preseason, pre-practice look at the schedule, and we'll get to some of his thoughts on how the ballpark's going to play, but some upgrades to PK Park. We were just talking during the break, Eric. I mean, having a new ballpark, it's kind of a fun storyline for people like you, me, that have seen so many games at PK Park, everybody else. How is that field going to play? How is everything going to kind of feel out there? And I'm excited for that. It's a great upgrade to PK.
Absolutely. There are several components to PK Park. We're lucky to have PK Park. It's an awesome place for our student athletes and our fans. But there were some things that were ready, and it started with the field. The turf had been down there since 2008. And turf technology has changed, and that field had certainly seen its day with all the duck baseball and then all the Emeralds baseball it's played on it. So we're excited. We've got the newest baseball technology from field turf going in there, and it's it's going to play really well, and Coach Waz and his staff have put a lot of thought into the type of product that we put down and how it plays and how we're managing the infill, and it's very scientific, Joey.
Yeah, I know.
So we're excited, and the field looks great. It's going to have some cool branding on it and just an overall different look for our fans and for our players. So that piece is great. And then, I think the thing that's going to be the most interesting is what we've done with the outfield fence. And, really from left center to right center, we've brought it in a little bit, about 10 to 15 feet, depending on where you are in the park. I think there's some real strategic aspects of that. When the park was built back in 2008, I don't know that they fully understood what the impacts of the cold, damp weather for the first couple months of the season was going to have on the ability to generate offense and how far the ball would carry.
Bats are different.
Yeah, the technology with the ball and with bats has changed. So all that information that we've collected over the last 5-10 years and everything we know went into the decision in terms of where the fence now is and the fence height, and trying to for example, out in right field now the fence will no longer be lower in front of the bullpen. It'll be consistent all the way around at 6.5 feet. So you're gonna hopefully find more balls stay in the park, keeping the triples and that type of thing alive a little bit more as opposed to the ground rule double. So those are some of the kind of things that you think about with the strategy on the fence, and then the video board, which is going to be a really cool component. And I know our athletes are going to love it, but I think the fans are really going to enjoy that, getting a nice, shiny, new, high-tech video board out in left field. So that's going to be the newest in technology, similar to what we put into Autzen Stadium, and really looking forward to lighting that thing up.
Yeah, just talking about the impact that it made at Autzen, I do think selfishly it's going to be similar at PK Park. I mean, it's just such a different experience, and that is what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to give it the best experience for fans, because otherwise they could stay at home and listen to a schmuck like me.
That's not all terrible, Joey, but we want to get as many people out, and we want to be able to engage with our fans and have the amazing graphics that we're capable of having through. It's great for our sponsors and creating more visibility for our sponsors, and just the overall layout of what we can do with that board with an increased size and the better resolutions. It'll be fun.
When you got into this realm in your career, did you think that you'd become an expert on turf technology?
Well, I don't know that I'm an expert yet, but just going through some replacements in Autzen and out at PK and in the Mo, it is interesting the number of decisions that you need to make as you go through these installations. But the technology is great, and it's even amazing. Back when we first did PK Park, you're just putting turf down. Like it's kind of like you're putting what you would put on a football field down. But now there's baseball-specific turf.
Plays more like dirt. One of the players we're going to continue to preview the season over the course of the week here on Duck Insider. You're going to hear from Isaac Aon, Josh Kasevich, and Anthony Hall. And one of the things that Josh Kasevich was saying, shortstop for the Ducks, is that it actually plays a little more like dirt since he's been out there, and it gives you a little bit more of an advantage instead of. Some fields play so differently. I always make the comparison that if you play at Arizona, for example, that's like concrete. It's such a hard dirt. Then you go play at PK Park, it was a true hop, and it was a little bit of a different feel. I think it kind of levels out the playing field as all this technology evolves. So he said it's coconut flakes. Is that's part of the technology?
Yeah. There's some of the infill in the infield, to get the ball to, again, play a certain way. When it's rubber, when the infill is a little bit more of a rubber content, the ball tends to be a little bouncier. On the coconut husks, I think it tends to kind of deaden the impact a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays. The guys are all still getting used to it, but the early feedback's been really positive.
I think that's an expert, right? I mean, bounce versus deaden the ball, and you're using coconut husks instead of rubber. I mean, it used to be like old school turf, right? It was like ground up tires was kind of like that was kind of maybe I don't know if stereotype's the right word, but that's not what this stuff is, right? I mean, it's amazing. So I think that you're getting close to turf expert. I mean,
not even, Joey.
You've done 3 installations though that you've been around with these things you said?
Oh, we've had more than that.
Yeah,
we did the football practice fields and the Papay turf. So, yeah, there's been a bunch.
Yeah, turf insider here. With
There we
Eric
go.
Roedl.
I think, you know what, you should have Devin Shea on the show.
Okay.
I'm serious. Devin, if you want to talk, because I know everybody loves to hear about facilities and the technology with the boards and everything else. Devin could talk. He could fill your whole show.
So I want this to be made very clear. I have talked to Devin about this. Devin, there has now been an endorsement from the Deputy Athletic Director to come on and have that segment. I've tried. He's come on once in the past, and I think we need to do it again.
Well, between, Hayward, I know you've talked a lot about Hayward probably with Robert Johnson and maybe Jill Steele, but, Devin, he's a volume of information.
Devin is Associate Athletic Director in charge of facilities, everybody, and he's great. So we've had him on the show once, and I think we're going to have to do it again. That's what I'm hearing. It was pre-COVID that he came on.
All right, let's do it.
So Devin Shea, you're going to be on an Athletic Director Tuesday here coming up. I want to continue a little bit and talk about football, Eric. I mean, this is a big time for football because Coach Lanning and his staff are here. They're hitting the ground running. They're recruiting. They're filling support staff positions. Just give fans the update on kind of the logistics of where things stand as we are 8 days away from signing day now, which is always a big day.
Yeah, this is it's crunch time, and Coach Lanning, I think his situation was very unique. When we had the coaching transition, you want to make sure that you're moving as efficiently and as quickly as you possibly can, but you've got to find the right person. And we're so excited that we're able to hire Coach Lanning, and then he went out and has just put together an all-star staff, and they've hit the ground running, and they're doing a great job. But yeah, I mean, they're utilizing every opportunity they possibly have to go out and build relationships with recruits, and certainly the transfer portal is a big part of everything right now with our own student athletes and with student athletes elsewhere. So they're doing an outstanding job on these weekends and hosting people, and while they're still learning a lot about the Eugene community and about the University of Oregon and how to fully leverage everything that we have here. So can't say enough great things. And his ability to wear a couple hats there through the national championship and the CFP semis was amazing.
As somebody who is admittedly a needer of sleep, I don't know how he did it. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think I've asked him that a couple times. I don't think he finds any need for sleep, but he finds a way.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to think about just the amount that goes into it. But it's because he cares, right? It's because of the passion. There's no doubt. I want to finish up and talk a little bit about the tennis squads. It was a fun weekend that was stacking up with the women's team against Washington, men's tennis, and then men's basketball against Washington. We had 3 matchups with Washington scheduled. Unfortunately, men's tennis not able to play, which I know that they're off to a good start so far.
Yeah, they're off to a great start. They got a couple matches in, and kind of tune-up opportunities, and they've got the ITA kickoff this weekend. Unfortunately, I think 4 consecutive matches had to be postponed, and they're working on figuring all that out. But they've got a great roster on the men's side, and they're looking to go play against some really good competition down in Austin this weekend and see how we do.
Women's tennis as well, matching up. They're supposed to go out to Chapel Hill this weekend.
The women are headed to Chapel Hill. I think they've only gotten 1 match in so far, and they've missed a couple due to COVID protocol postponements. So they're both looking forward to getting out there and getting after it, and really like the squad that Courtney and Elizabeth have on the women's side, and it's going to be fun to watch them go out and compete. Again, these ITA kickoff weekends are pretty much the top 64, 65. I think it's a 64 draw, 16 regions of 4 teams, but it's pretty much the top 70 teams in the country. Yeah. So it's good competition.
It gives you a great read early on what the postseason could look like for your squad and everybody else, right? You kind of know where you stand right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get 2 matches, and the way that the ranking system, and that weighs heavily into the NCAA postseason process, the way that they do college tennis rankings, you want as many opportunities to play top 50, top 60 teams as you possibly can. So you have 2 good opportunities for wins, whether you win your first round or not. So these are great opportunity weekends.
Eric Roedl overseeing men's and women's tennis. Talked a lot of baseball, basketball, football. What else is going on? Anything that we miss? What else is on your desk these days?
I don't know. You pretty much covered it.
All right.
We've got a lot of great things. There's, the momentum in the department is awesome right now. And obviously we're all still working through some of the COVID protocol stuff, but our student athletes are achieving at a high level, and it's going to be great to see what our winter and our spring sports can do to continue with the momentum. I mean, football in the fall, we all wanted to win a Pac-12 championship or whatever, and we had some high hopes with our CFP ranking, but we had a 10-win season, and if you go back historically, 10-win seasons are rare, and 10 regular season wins, especially with the schedule that we had, was an amazing achievement. Getting fans back into Autzen Stadium was great, and some of the atmospheres that we've had so far at Matthew Knight Arena have been great. And then, beating Ohio State on the road was pretty special. So a lot of good momentum, and look forward to keep it going.
I believe it was the 8th 10-win season in the history of Oregon football.
Yeah, so you put that in perspective, and that's out of how many years?
100 and something, right? I mean, you go back a ways. I try to be a good encyclopedia, but I find so fast that there are so many people that are way better encyclopedias of Oregon athletics than I am. I lean on those people. Especially I always tell Greg Walker this from Oregon Sports Information. Like, that guy is literally a walking encyclopedia. Like, you ask him, he'll know. It's pretty amazing the amount of people that keep track of that stuff. But it does put it in perspective, doesn't it? I mean, you want to be winning at a high level, right? But also 10-win seasons. That's pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
Eric Roedl, Deputy Athletic Director. Hey, thanks. Appreciate you taking the time, and I hope that you don't have a meeting in 4 minutes.
No, I think I'm good.
All right.
Thanks, Joey.
Basketball tonight at Matthew Knight Arena. I'm sure that you'll probably spot Eric walking around down around the court as the Ducks get ready for Colorado. Good matchup tonight at Matthew Knight Arena. When we come back, it's time to start previewing the Diamond Sports. We begin with Oregon softball head coach Melyssa Lombardi after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
You're listening to Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. They can help save lives by not having play dates. That's right. By replacing get-togethers with virtual play dates and video chats, they can help slow the evil spread of germs. And if your superheroes do go outside, make sure they continue their superhero wing by staying 6 feet away from others to protect everyone in America land. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I am pleased to welcome head coach Melyssa Lombardi to the Country Financial Studio. Coach, it is so good to see you in the studio again. You know, we were talking about this during the break. it is awesome to be able to say we're getting ready for softball with fans back in the stands at Jane Sanders Stadium. How are you? How are things?
I'm good, and I couldn't agree more.
Man, so let's start there. There's about 1,300 season tickets sold so far, which is awesome for considering we're a little less than a month away from opening day, about 3 weeks away from opening day. But the great news is there are still seats around home plate, which I'm sure you hear from people even more than I do. Well, definitely more than I do. Those are the good seats to have.
Those are the good seats to have, and those are the seats that I really like to be filled because they help me with the umpires.
Oh, sure.
They assist. They really help my cause. So,
do you,
yes.
So how often do you agree with all the umpires that are in the stands at Jane Sanders Stadium? I'd imagine frequently.
I agree with all of them.
Yeah. Melyssa Lombardi joining us. Number 17 in the Softball America preseason poll today. I have a feeling that you maybe didn't even know that, and I doubt that your team even knows that, but I can sit here and brag about you that it's number 17, and you guys want to be ranked, right? You want to be one of those teams that is the hunted, for lack of a better phrase.
For sure, for sure. I feel like that's a nice start. You know, we really don't get too caught up. It's in preseason rankings. It's nice just to see where everybody puts us, but for the most part, it's about the finish.
Let's go back in time a little bit. What's the off-season been like for you? Going through with a new staff that we're going to talk about, you're always managing your roster, you're recruiting. Just take us through what the off-season was like as you continue to be, for lack of a better phrase, adaptable, I'd imagine.
The off-season it's been very busy, but it's been a great busy. It's, you know, kind of back to that normalcy. I did hire 3 new assistants, so the summer was just fast and furious. But again, a good fast and furious. The fall, getting Coach Liss, getting Coach Martyr, Coach Reagan in, and watching them work with our athletes was pretty cool.
Let's talk about your staff, if you could. Take us through why you liked them, and what your staff is like now that they're all starting to gel here in the preseason.
Yeah, we it's interesting. Just the short time we've been together, we really gel. We really connect. And you can see strengths, you know, how somebody has a strength, it helps with my weakness or whatever it may be. Like, we complement each other extremely well. Coach Liss, Alyssa Palomino Cardoza, she came from Arizona. She just finished playing and has been our volunteer coach. And I just love, I mean, for being young and right out of school, she's really made a difference with our athletes. You know, she's a pro athlete. She's still playing, but she just got done with school. So she's very relatable to our athletes and she connects with them really well. And I think can talk with them and do things with them that I can't. You know, it's just a different relationship.
Sure.
So I've loved watching her coach and just seeing her grow. I mean, this is her first year as a coach, and I've been really happy to see what she's been doing with our athletes.
If I could follow up on her real quick, I'm always fascinated. Like, I ask a lot of athletes, you know, like, hey, do you want to go into coaching? You know, what leads you to that? Now, as somebody who has hired a lot of coaches, has coached a number of student athletes, what are those traits that you see, like, no, this student athlete could turn into a great coach? Like, what do you look for in that regard?
I think you see their leadership on and off the field as they're playing. They conduct themselves like a coach. You know, you feel like you have an assistant coach that's playing with your team. And so you could definitely see that with Liz. She's good. She's really, really good at what she does, and the way she presents things to our athletes, they really do a good job of responding to her.
Continuing to talk about the staff, I got to ask you about a pro Duck who's now on the coaching staff. Nikki Udrea, formerly, now Nikki Reagan, married Johnny Reagan of Oregon football fame. So already the recruiting of their future potential children, I mean, you got to be off the charts for that. But that's one of my favorite storylines for you guys this season is, you know, fans get a chance to see one of those former players who's stepped into a coaching role, and I think we're all pretty excited to see what she can do for you.
Yeah, really excited. There's something about coming back to your alma mater and coaching. It just, the passion that you already have for your school because you played there, but then now to come back and give as a coach and compete as a coach, I think it's just another level. You know, she talks with recruits and they can feel the passion and love that she has for this university and for our program. And then just for her, she is a competitor all of our coaches, they are competitors. They do not like to lose in anything. They want to win in everything. Her preparation as a coach, she doesn't just show up to practice and coach. She's very specific and very detailed. She really knows how, every athlete is different, and she understands how to get to each athlete to get the best out of them.
One of the best that I've ever seen. I had the pleasure of calling Oregon softball games when Nikki was playing, and she made plays at shortstop that still wow me to this day. She had huge hits. I mean, the clutch gene, I don't know if there is such a thing, but she had it if there is such a thing. That's awesome. I'm actually really looking forward to having her on the show because I think that'd be a fun connection. Lastly, associate head coach now, Sam Marder, elevating her to that associate head coach role.
Definitely. Very deserving for her, and I'm excited for her to have that role. Sam and what she has done in the short time with our hitters, it's also been pretty exciting to watch. Sam is very innovative. Again, she's an excellent teacher. She knows how to get to each individual. And whether it's through her drills or through her analytics, just video, there's so many different things that she does with our athletes and gets them to get excited about hitting and driving the ball and clutching up in situations and preparing for a certain pitcher. Right now our hitters and pitchers are going after it every day in practice. Sure. And as coaches, one of us is walking away miserable, So I'm walking away miserable because hitters are having a great day, or she's walking away miserable because pitchers threw well. But just that competition piece that's happening every day at practice is what's allowing these guys to be ready.
That's how you have to simulate heading into the season, right? Like that's how you get that competitive game spirit. I'm curious because we talk so much about the schedule and scheduling things out, and I feel like scheduling is probably the most difficult part of a coach's job in the last 2 years with trying to piece it together, and then you're having to deal with makeups and can you make every game up, and let's just hope that we don't have to deal with that as much this year. But you guys, I feel like, Coach, have put together another strong schedule. You're going to play in a couple tournaments that are always on your schedule, and it all starts with Ole Miss and Fullerton, and then you guys are playing that UCLA tournament coming up. Just take us through kind of how you piece together your schedule this year. What do you like about the non-conference schedule to start?
Yeah, I think, one, just opening up with Ole Miss, it's not like we're warming up. We're opening up with a tough SEC school. That's in postseason every year. Yeah. So we definitely better be ready, or it won't be good enough for us. But no, I do like how our schedule shapes up, starting out in California and getting to play them and Northridge and LMU. And then from there going to Baylor, which is going to be that's going to be a tough road trip. Baylor, I've known Baylor for 20 years. I've played against them, and that's a tough team. They hit well, they pitch well, they're fast. They're very aggressive, so that's going to be a early test for us, like just second weekend,
Yeah. Well, we talk about, I was saying that you guys are less than a month out now, but you guys don't play at Jane Sanders Stadium with the way the schedule shapes up until March this year. So going on the road, you guys usually do that in the beginning of the season, and I feel like that's a test for postseason, right? You guys are kind of in like a miniature tournament, and, I haven't even mentioned like the Marionette Collegiate Classic. That's always a great tournament every year. You guys will be there again. Just how much does that factor into your coaching when you're on the road and you're kind of rehearsing for the postseason right when the season kicks off?
Yeah, I think it's a huge factor for us and goes a long way. We've got to see early on, we've got to get battle tested and see where we are early on versus if we kind of ease into it. I don't know if we're prepared when we need to be. So, this is a veteran team. This is a team with a lot of experience. They're going into their 4th year. So what is this veteran team going to look like right out of the gate?
Version 4, right?
Version 4,
If you've seen the Oregon softball, if you followed along. By the way, if you follow along on Oregon softball, every now and then you're going to see some awesome duck swag, obviously. Well, yesterday, you got to see some custom gloves. Those of you who are watching the show, Coach, the duck swag is always next level for your squad.
Yes, that's something that I didn't know until I knew from afar, but you don't know what you don't know, right? Until you get there. And yes, the duck swag here it's definitely on another level.
Take us inside like the reveal of these things. Like the student athletes, how excited do they get? How excited do the coaches get when you get to see stuff like this for a new season?
Well, what's pretty awesome about this is that when I played, we didn't have we didn't create our own gloves. We were thankful to get gloves. So just to see, how far our sport has come and what is being done for women's sports, makes me smile. These guys work hard. And so to watch them in the fall, or actually in the summer, they design their gloves and, really are intentional about it. And I think it's a cool deal for them.
I think I know the answer to this. How much does stuff like that and what you just described help in recruiting?
Oh, a ton. Athletes want that student-athlete experience, and there's no question you're going to get that here. They want that student-athlete experience, and they want to play at the highest level and be able to compete for Pac-12 championships, for national championships. So to put that all together with our resources and Jane Sanders Stadium, which I could be biased, but I think it's the best stadium in the country. I love it. So just to have those resources and that experience for our athletes, it's huge.
Talk about what's going on at practice right now. Like, take fans kind of inside your schedule and what to expect. And fans, you'll notice that we didn't talk a lot of specifics about individual players because, well, competition's still going on at a lot of different positions, I'd imagine.
Yes, we're in competition mode right now. It's, you think about the fall, and we're working on mechanics and working on making some adjustments in different areas and whatnot. Now, it's pure strategy. It's game mode. It's what do we have to prepare every day so we are ready to go for that first game against Ole Miss. So constantly competing as a team, as individuals, understanding how we want to set up hitters, understanding as hitters pitches that we have to be on time for right, from the first pitch versus waiting a couple innings to get that figured out. How quickly can we get that figured out right from the start?
You talked about this being a veteran team, and I'll leave you with this before we talk again next week. By the way, every Tuesday, Coach Lombardi has been kind enough to take some time out of her schedule to chat with us each week. What are the strengths of your team? What are you excited about to see with this veteran squad?
Yeah, I think one is their experience. That these past 3 years, we had to work to get that experience. We were young. So the experience is there. They know what they need to do. They know what to expect. I think versatility is always, that has been our foundation. Yeah. We've been a team that is very versatile, very athletic. We've run in the past. We're going to run a lot this year.
Really?
We've got really, really good team speed. So you're going to see us turn singles into doubles, doubles into triples. And then I think you're going to see more power at the plate. I love what Coach Marter's been doing with our athletes. I think you're going to see these guys drive the ball more this year. And then pitching, I think our staff. Last year we had a staff, but then you also saw Brooke Yanez throw a lot of innings. I think you're going to see this group as a staff compete more.
Okay, I said that I was going to leave you with that, but now I have to follow up on the staff because you and I have talked so much about that and how softball has evolved, and I think it's such a fascinating storyline of the last 5, 6, 7, you tell me 10 years in softball that it's not just the one arm that you rely on anymore. There's so much more strategy and so much more depth of talent, it seems like, across the country even.
For sure. Our sport has evolved so much. Like back in the day, you could have one pitcher, 1 to 2 pitchers, and that could take you all the way. It's not enough. Just the technology that the hitters are swinging, the video, the preparation, all the scouting. These athletes are bigger and stronger, more mature. Like we've just evolved in so many areas that to try to get away with 1 or 2, it's not enough. You've got to be able to have a staff that can handle different matchups and somebody that could come in middle to have somebody. Reagan Breedlove last year, I love how she would come in and throw 70 miles an hour and close for us. That's what we need, is for us to be able to work collectively together.
We'll talk again every Tuesday. I got to a third of my bullet points, and Coach, thanks for the time.
You're welcome.
Always appreciate it. The Ducks will be back at Jane Sanders Stadium before you know it, but starting off against Ole Miss on February 10th down in California. We got a lot more to come. And Coach, just thanks again. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Best of luck out at practice at Jane Sanders Stadium. Season tickets still on sale, and when we come back, we're going to switch gears, talk about the other diamond sport. That's right, Mark Wasikowski previewing Oregon baseball season when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Oh, I love this guy.
What's your name?
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. My thanks to Melyssa Lombardi for joining us. And today, Oregon baseball head coach Mark Wasikowski also met with me. And real quick, though, I did make a mistake earlier. It was the 12th 10-win season in the history of Oregon football. I had 8 in my head because another win would have given the Ducks their 8th 11-win season. So I shorted the Ducks by a few there. My bad. Mark Wasikowski previewing the season, though, and talking about those upgrades to PK Park. A lot of good stuff with the Oregon baseball head coach, as throughout this week we'll preview the start of Oregon baseball season. Here's Waz.
Hey, Coach. Just wanted to know if there's an update on the facility changes in terms of moving the walls in or back out on the new turf.
Facility changes, yeah. So we've, good morning, first off, all, or good afternoon. The facility, yeah, it's coming along nicely. There's brand new turf out there. There's graphics all over the place. They just are beginning, as a matter of fact, today on the video board and scoreboard. All the changes and all the updates and the upgrades and all that kind of stuff should be complete by the beginning of the season, first home game. And everything's on pace and looks amazing, to be honest.
Hey, Coach, kind of a historical season for Oregon last season and for you guys. I was just wondering what you as a coaching staff are looking to do to maintain that momentum into this year.
Well, yeah, last year was a good year for the baseball program for sure. You know, as reminiscent of some of the earlier years with Coach Horton's 12, maybe 2012, 2013-ish type teams, 14. So, I mean, early on there were some teams that were, knocking on the door to get to Omaha, last year's club. At the beginning of the year, if you were to ask people, hey, what do you think is going to happen this year with the baseball team? There were a lot of question marks. And to be able to look back on that and be able to answer that question at the end of the year with hosting a regional. And unfortunately, we didn't win that regional. We got to the final game of that regional. And boy, what an accomplishment it was for us to be able to finish one game out of first place at the end of last year's regular season in the Pac-12 race, and then host the regional and playing the championship game of our regional. Things that I think that nobody that was predicting our team at the beginning, our team's success at the beginning of the year, would have said any of those things. And yet we were able to accomplish a lot of those things. So now this year, turn the page, moving forward onto what we have this year. It started with recruiting. And then once we were able to get those players on campus, then it's now strictly turned into the mission and tasks at hand, and specifically player development. So the player development plan is a big one for us. We pride ourselves in developing players. Like you saw, was probably the biggest reason by far. Last year's success of the team was strictly based off of the development of the players that we had in that program. And there were a lot of guys that went from more or less unrated type prospects to guys that were getting some pretty strong professional offers, all the way up to Aaron Zavala's position as the first pick in the second round. So we are focused on continuing to enhance the player development, not only in the development of the facility itself to help us with those things, but then for our staff to take all of the greatness that they've invested in our facility to the actual players that we've brought to campus.
Was the changes that are happening to the field, particularly the fences and the dimension changes, how at first glance, at first impression, how do you think that changes just how you go about, it was a really pitcher-friendly park there until the regional, when it became a little bit of a bandbox there in the postseason. But what do you think the changes will be in terms of from a strategy standpoint and the dimensions to the park?
Yeah, good question, James. And time will tell on that. A lot of the factors at our field, we feel like start with the change of weather, whether it's goes from the cool time of year, which we're in right now, or when we get to postseason play, when there's a significantly different, weather card in the fold there. And so we saw that a little bit last year. I think specifically with the dimension change, you're not talking about major changes out there at all. You're talking about 10 feet from the gaps to center field is all. The fun part is that you will have not only that change, but the fence height change. And so there were some quirky dimensions in our fence. There was a short right field fence and then a much taller rest of the field fence. The fence itself across the entire field now will be 6.5 feet. That's going to allow outfielders to make more athletic plays, maybe rob some home runs. It'll also allow for the ball that goes over an outfielder's head, instead of bouncing over the fence that we saw a lot of times, especially in right field with our short porch. I think what we're going to see now, and we've seen so far in the early going, is that ball bounces and hits the fence. And so specifically the play that starts with the runner on first base, now we have a chance for that play on the ball batted to any part of the ballpark, not just right field, but now including right field, that ball is going to bounce, stay in the ballpark, and we're going to have a chance for the three-base play. So either the triple, more triples in the ballpark, or specifically scoring a guy from first base on a ball that goes to the wall. And that should add for an exciting piece of the baseball game. Obviously, the three-base play is the most exciting play in the game, and to limit that is something that we tried to get rid of. We tried to maximize that, and I think we'll be able to do that now with the fence height.
Some of the fun updates to PK Park that you'll be able to see when Oregon baseball opens its season here next month. Coming up before you know it, Ducks will be hitting the practice field with the coaches able to come out and do all the workouts that they want. Coming up on Friday, I believe is the first official practice. The Ducks can do some voluntary stuff out on the field right now, the group of them, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the team has in store for us this season, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. When we come back, some updates on Oregon men's basketball tonight, and we'll continue to preview Oregon and Colorado. That's tonight on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
We're back on Nugget Cider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Tobias asking a good question. Why aren't there specific guidelines nationwide governing fence height, distance, etc.? There's so much variance from park to park. There is. It's one of the few sports, baseball, softball, where the field isn't consistent, right? The court isn't consistent. It is one of the oddities, and it's kind of always been that way. It's the home field advantage, the way that things play. I don't know. To be honest, I kind of like it. You know, it gives you a little bit of variety. The way the ballpark plays can factor into strategy, and you see coaches adjust their strategy based on each ballpark they're playing in. I kind of like that. So some things are definitely changing at PK Park, and I am really interested to see how the ballpark plays. I think that's going to be a fun storyline to follow throughout the course of this season. Then I got to tell you, we got some things in store, baseball fans coming up to really show off and really celebrate some of the history of PK Park, why things are looking the way that they're going to look at the new ballpark. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Baseball mini plans are now on sale. You can get your tickets at GoDucks.com. Tonight, Oregon men's basketball against Colorado. This is a big game for the Ducks. They need to maintain some momentum, especially because Colorado leads the all-time series 13-10, and Dana Altman's only losing record against a Pac-12 team actually is Colorado. He's 8-10 against the Buffs as the head coach, or as a head coach. Colorado won in Boulder last year, but Oregon won in Eugene, which is pretty much how this series has gone. The home team has had the dominant edge throughout the course of the last 10 years or so. Colorado has won 3 of the last 5 meetings overall, though, but Oregon has won 6 straight meetings in Eugene, and the Ducks are 7-1 in Eugene in the Pac-12 era. There you go. The home team has dominated this. How the Ducks go about stopping them, I think you got to force a few turnovers. You're going to have to really rebound the heck out of the basketball tonight. 6:30 pregame show and a 7 o'clock tip. Pac-12 Network for TV. I'll have the call on the Oregon Sports Network. Looking forward to Oregon and getting this game in against Colorado. That's what you like to see. No Duck Insider tomorrow because we got midday hoops for the women. So see you Thursday.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org.